Brought to you by Ayoko, Africa's leading integrated technology services company. This week in Tech Talk, we hone in on the agri-tech sector. Over the last 10 years, the agri-tech industry has done well in attracting funding. According to Savka, in 2023, it claimed the lion's share of over 3 billion rand invested into startups. Kula is the latest to have secured 126 million rand from external funders, post-bagging $1.3 million in seed funding in 2016 and an undisclosed amount in 2023. Business Day's Mudiwa Gavaza joins us with a closer assessment of investment into the local agri-tech sector. Mudiwa, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. And I guess let's start off with that 126 million rand funding being raised by existing shareholders, right? Just a reflection, I guess, of the positive sentiment in the business.
Most certainly. Thank you so much, Ntauleng. It's a very good story. And I wanted to highlight this one because most of the time when we're talking about technology, we talk about fintech, we talk about AI, but there's a lot of technology that's going into everyday life, and it's going literally into the food that people are eating. Kula is helping to connect a lot of small-scale farmers and plugging them and helping to plug them into some of the big, supply chains that, most of us are dealing with on a day-to-day basis when you go to your supermarket and, that type of thing. So really great platform. And when we say that they raised 126 million from existing funders, they have a number of different backers, such as ABSA, AECI, E Squared, and PepsiCo's Hodiso Fund that have come in there. The round was led by, E Squared Investments. And basically what's happening is that this is the beginning of their Series A. And in the initial stages, they were able to actually raise over 80% of what they hoped to raise from the existing shareholders. So now it's up to, the external investment world to actually come in and back this particular company in their Series A.
And that 126 million in addition to the 1.3 million seed funding, right? Talk to me about what the business will be using the money for. I can imagine it's for scale purposes.
There's a lot that's going on, but it tends to be directed towards the technology cost, that's out there. They said that they're going to be launching, a couple of new products that they hope will open up access, to farmers even further. I was at a celebration that they held recently, a stakeholder event, and they were actually showing off a number of, different proof of concepts that are available to farmers, a tool that's where farmers are able, to keep track, of their accounts and that type of thing. Right now, they have 3 specific platforms that they deal with. They have an inputs app that actually connects, farmers and then some of the technical expertise. Then they have a trading platform, which is what I initially knew them for, and about 5 years ago, and I've started following the story, where basically they look at small-scale farmers, bringing them into some of the big retail supply chains and helping to connect, that fund. And then the last piece is around helping to lend to some of these small farmers. So the funds are going to be used to, help with some of that expansion and then also just investing in that technology.
What I found interesting about the business was the how they are helping these small scale farmers to connect to the funders. And something else I found interesting was that how they try and keep their costs really low. And what they've been doing is working with logistics companies for delivery purposes of the produce, right? And the CEO said that it acts like an Uber app. So once one of the farmers is done, it shows in the app, and then the company, the drivers can pick up on that and then go pick up the produce and deliver it to where it's supposed to go.
Yeah, and it's actually very interesting that you're describing it like that, because they actually say on their website that there's over R1 billion worth of growing contracts that have come through their particular channel. And then to your point around the logistics network and all of that, they have over 130 different depots across the country, that they're using to actually help with some of these logistics.
Mm.
The founder that you are quoting, Caridas, is famous for talking about the fact that once upon a time, himself and his partner in the business, Matthew, actually used to go around in a
Mm.
VW Polo, taking the produce from these farmers and delivering it, themselves. So these are some of the ways that they've taken what they were already doing, but actually built actual systems around it, because you start off, saying this is the problem we want to do,
Yeah.
which is connecting farmers, and then you build out the logistics capability because this is what you guys as founders were doing, and then you build out that logistics capability. Whilst you're doing it, you then realize actually some of these farmers need help when it comes to managing stock inventory, all of this stuff, and you start developing the solutions. On the other side, also thinking about, okay, yeah, how do we help the people that are in our ecosystem when it comes to making sure that they can actually deliver. A big part of farming is actually that investment. You need a lot of upfront capital to be able to grow
Mm.
to actually grow your crop, or to have the inputs to be able to tend to your fields and that type of thing. So putting those systems in place, a very good story.
Mm. And Mudiwa, before I let you go, just talk to me about the growing interest in the agri-tech sector. You mentioned at the top that we usually just talk about fintech, and now we are seeing, some interest in the agri-fintech sector. We also saw those insights from Savka mentioning that the agri-tech sector taking the lion's share of the funding.
So maybe just a quick one there. Fortunately or unfortunately, fintech is actually the one that has actually been claiming a big
Okay.
part of that. And I think that's one of the reasons why Kula has probably attached a lending arm, right,
Ah, okay.
to their business, because and we've actually seen it with a number of different businesses that now have a financing or a fintech, piece of the business as well, because it's actually in one of the ways to drive investment interest,
Mm.
into your business.
Okay.
Coming back to agriculture specifically, obviously, right now we're talking about Kula, but we could call out companies like Aerobotics, which is Cape Town based, and they've actually been doing great work in terms of using drones to be able to monitor crops and trees, count your fields, see how much livestock you have, see the progress in your various fields, monitor disease, all of this stuff. Another startup that I want to call out is a company that recently launched. It's called Leruo, and they call themselves Face ID for cattle or livestock,
Uh-huh.
where they've come up with an app that can scan a cow's face, and you can actually use that to create a biometric profile, because that's one of the big problems in agriculture. You have your herd of cattle, they go off onto someone else's land, or
Mm.
perhaps
Mm.
someone comes and steals, your livestock. How do you identify? A lot of them tend to have the RFID tags on the ears,
Yeah.
right? But if you aren't able to do something like that, or you need a layer on top of that, these are some of the solutions. So really great innovations coming out
Mm.
from AgriTech in South Africa.
Very interesting, Mudiwa. Thanks so much for your time and just sharing those insights with us. That was Business Day's Mudiwa Gavaza. Brought to you by IOCO, Africa's leading integrated technology services company.